The dark web is a hidden collective of internet sites only accessible by a specialized web browser. It is used for keeping internet activity anonymous and private, which can be helpful in both legal and illegal applications. While some use it to evade government censorship, it has also been known to be utilized for highly illegal activity. The internet is sizable with millions of web pages, databases, and servers all run 24 hours a day. But the so-called visible internet, aka surface web or open web, sites that can be found using search engines like Google and Yahoo, is just the tip of the iceberg. There are several terms surrounding the non-visible web, but it's worth knowing how they differ if you're planning to browse off the beaten path. The open web, or surface web, is the visible surface layer. If we continue to visualize the entire web like an iceberg, the open web would be the top portion that's above the water. From a statistical standpoint, this collective of websites and data makes up under 5% of the total internet. All commonly public-facing websites accessed via traditional browsers like Google Chrome, Internet Explorer, and Firefox are contained here. Websites are usually labeled with registry operators like .com and .org and can be easily located with popular search engines. Locating surface web websites is possible because search engines can index the web via visible links, a process called crawling due to the search engine traveling the web like a spider. The deep web rests below the surface and accounts for approximately 90% of all websites. This would be the part of an iceberg beneath the water, much larger than the surface web. In fact, this hidden web is so large that it's impossible to discover exactly how many pages or websites are active at any one time. Carrying on with the analogy, big search engines could be considered like fishing boats that can only catch websites close to the surface. Everything else, from academic journals to private databases and more illicit content, is out of reach. This deep web also includes the portion that we know as the dark web. While many news outlets use deep web and dark web interchangeably, much of the deep portion as a whole is perfectly legal and safe. Some of the largest parts of the deep web include databases, both public and privately protected file collections that are not connected to other areas of the web, only to be searched within the database itself. Intranets, internal networks for enterprises, governments, and educational facilities used to communicate and control aspects privately within their organizations. In case you're wondering how to access the deep web, chances are you already use it daily. The term deep web refers to all web pages that are unidentifiable by search engines. Deep web sites may be concealed behind passwords or other security walls, while others simply tell search engines to not crawl them. Without visible links, these pages are more hidden for various reasons. On the larger deep web, its hidden content is generally cleaner and safer. Everything from blog posts in review and pending web page redesigns to the pages you access when you bank online are part of the deep web. Furthermore, these pose no threat to your computer or safety at large. Most of these pages are kept hidden from the open web to protect user information and privacy, such as financial accounts like banking and retirement, email and social messaging, private enterprise databases, HIPAA-sensitive information like medical documentation, legal files. Venturing further into the deep web does bring a bit more danger to the light. For some users, portions of the deep web offer the opportunity to bypass local restrictions and access TV or movie services that may not be available in their local areas. Others go somewhat deeper to download pirated music or steal movies that aren't yet in theater. At the dark end of the web, you'll find the more hazardous content and activity. Tor websites are located at this far end of the deep web, which are deemed the dark web and are only accessible by an anonymous browser. Deep web safety is more relevant to the average internet user than dark web safety, as you could end up in dangerous areas by accident. Many portions of the deep web can still be accessed in normal internet browsers. This is how users can travel through enough tangential pathways and end up on a piracy site, a politically radical forum, or viewing disturbingly violent content. The dark web. The dark web refers to sites that are not indexed and only accessible via specialized web browsers. Significantly smaller than the tiny surface web, the dark web is considered a part of the deep web. Using our ocean and iceberg visual, the dark web would be the bottom tip of the submerged iceberg. The dark web, however, is a very concealed portion of the deep web that few will ever interact with or even see. In other words, the deep web covers everything under the surface that's still accessible with the right software, including the dark web. Breaking down the construction of the dark web reveals a few key layers that make it an anonymous heaven. No web page indexing by surface web search engines. Google and other popular search tools cannot discover or display results for pages within the dark web. Virtual traffic tunnels via a randomized network infrastructure. Inaccessible by traditional browsers due to its unique registry operator. Also, it's further hidden by various network security measures like firewalls and encryption. The reputation of the dark web has often been linked to criminal intent or illegal content and trading sites where users can purchase illicit goods or services. However, legal parties have made use of this framework as well. When it comes to dark web safety, the deep web dangers are very different from dark web dangers. Illegal cyber activity cannot necessarily be stumbled upon easily but tends to be much more extreme and threatening if you do seek it out. Before we unpack the dark web's threats, let's explore how and why users access these sites. The dark web was once the province of hackers, law enforcement officers, and cybercriminals. However, new technology like encryption and the anonymization browser software, Tor, now makes it possible for anyone to dive dark if they are interested. The Onion Routing Project network browser provides users access to visit websites with the Onion Registry Operator. This browser is a service originally developed in the latter part of the 1990s by the United States Naval Research Laboratory. Understanding that the nature of the internet meant a lack of privacy, an early version of Tor was created to hide spy communications. Eventually, the framework was repurposed and has since been made public in the form of the browser we know today. Anyone can download it free of charge. Think of Tor as a web browser like Google Chrome or Firefox. Notably, instead of taking the most direct route between your computer and the deep parts of the web, the Tor browser uses a random path of encrypted servers known as nodes. This allows users to connect to the deep web without fear of their actions being tracked or their browser history being exposed. Sites on the deep web also use Tor, or similar software such as I2P, the Invisible Internet Project, to remain anonymous, meaning you won't be able to find out who's running them or where they're being hosted. Simply put, no, it is not illegal to access the dark web. In fact, some uses are perfectly legal and support the value of the dark web. On the dark web, users can seek out 3 clear benefits from its use. User anonymity, virtually untraceable services and sites, ability to take illegal actions for both users and providers. As such, the dark web has attracted many parties who would otherwise be endangered by revealing their identities online. Abuse and persecution victims, whistleblowers, and political dissidents have been frequent users of these hidden sites. But of course, these benefits can be easily extended to those that want to act outside of the constraints of laws. When viewed through this lens, the dark web's legality is based on how you as a user engage with it. You might fall to the wayside of legal lines for many reasons that are important for the protection of freedom. Others may act in ways that are illegal for the protection and safety of others. Let's unpack both of these concepts in terms of the dark web browser and the websites themselves. How to access the dark web safely? If you have a legitimate or viable need to access the dark web, you'll want to make sure you stay safe if you decide to use it. Trust your intuition. To avoid being scammed, you'll want to protect yourself with smart behavior on the web. Not everyone is who they seem. Staying safe requires that you watch who you talk to and where you visit. You should always take action to remove yourself from a situation if something doesn't feel right. Detach your online persona from real life. Your username, email address, real name, password, and even your credit card should never be used anywhere else in your life. Create brand new throwaway accounts and identifiers for yourself if necessary. Acquire prepaid, unidentifiable debit cards before making any purchases. Do not use anything that could be used to identify you, whether online or in real life. Employ active monitoring of identity and financial theft. Many online security services now offer identity protection for your safety. Be sure to take advantage of these tools if they are made available to you. Explicitly avoid dark web file downloads. Fear of malware infection is significantly higher in the lawless territory that is the dark web. Real-time file scanning from an antivirus program can help you check any incoming files in case you do opt to download. Disable ActiveX and Java in any available network settings. These frameworks are notorious for being probed and exploited by malicious parties. Since you are traveling through a network filled with said threats, you'll want to avoid to download this risk. Use a secondary non-admin local user account for all daily activities. The native account on most computers will have full administrative permissions by default. Most malware must take advantage of this to execute its function. As such, you can slow or halt the progress of exploitation by limiting the account in use to strict privileges. Always restrict access to your torrentable device. Protect your children or other family members so they aren't at risk of stumbling across something no one should ever see. Visit the deep web if you're interested, but don't let kids anywhere near it.